Welcome to another episode of Business Makeover. This is the business video podcast that we will make you money, save you money, or somehow improve your productivity. I'm your host, I'm Coach Leik, and today I have a good friend and special guest, Miss Jun Ooi, with me, and she is an ISO consultant. So how are you, Jun?
Hi, great.
All right, so how business recently?
Yeah, most of the project kickstart. So getting busy right now because everyone wish to get certified hopefully by end of this year. If not, then first quarter of next year. So that's why it's getting busy right now.
All right, so good for you and good for the industry as well.
Yeah,
So,
hopefully everything running smooth.
all right. So today I invite Jun Ooi to join us today, and she's gonna share with you how do you want your company to get certified with ISO? What are some of the procedure? What are some of the ISO type that we can do lah? So basically, she is the expert on ISO. So let's dive into today's topic, ISO. So I heard a joke you told me before that ISO stand for Ini Susah Orang.
Yep.
So can you share with me briefly what is ISO generally?
Okay, ini susah orang, I can say is the wrong mindset that everyone thought that ISO has a lot of documents, paperwork. It is something very difficult. They forced to follow, they forced to implement in order for them to pass the certification audit. So what I say this is a wrong mindset because actually in the ISO standards, right, there's one of the statements saying that how complicated is your documentation and how complicated is your what they call your procedure is very depends on the size of the organization and the product they produce. Yes, and also the competency of the staff they have. So if let's say if a SME, which is maybe less than 20 staff in the company, they don't need not necessary to have piles of documents or very complicated and detailed procedure. So this one is very depends on the organization, whether what's their expectation on their own procedure. So it's not necessary has a lot of paperwork lah. So the paper, because why a lot of people say ini susaran, because maybe they encounter a strict auditor, so or maybe more picky auditor, so they have this wrong mindset that actually I have to do a lot of things in order for me to pass the so-called like exam lah.
So basically, what is ISO do if my company want to apply for ISO?
All right. Actually, ISO standard, this standard is developed by International Organization of Standardization. But in fact, it's not an abbreviation. ISO is not an abbreviation. So ISO comes from a Greek word, means equal, ISO. So should be pronounced as ISO, equal.
Oh, ISO.
So yeah. Correct. So we used to pronounce ISO. So a lot of people thought that it's actually come from the International Organization of Standardization. But in fact, it actually means standardization. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So in a supply chain, let's say you imagine you are in a supply chain, you are a manufacturer. So you are going to tender a project, or maybe you hope that your product can bring it into a new market. You want to approach a potential customer. So this potential customer, they might not you at the beginning. So they don't know what your brand, because maybe there's no brand market share yet. So how do they judge you? How do they know that your product is quality, or maybe your
reliable, your company is reliable, right?
Yes. How you going to gain confidence for this potential customer? Same goes to, let's say you are the manufacturer, you are looking for vendors, suppliers, or subcontractors to outsource certain part of the process. How you going to select your vendors? So we don't know each other, right? Before we deal and collaborate further. So the ISO is actually an international standard for everyone to follow. It's like a guidance lah. It's like a guideline, so that when they manage their process, they manage their what they call the procedure, everything is according to this standard. So we are speaking in the same language lah, using the same language lah, so called.
So ISO basically help customer or supplier to understand you that if you work on a certain equal standard, so basically I don't have to judge you by your brand or your size of the company lah.
Yes, because the cert is provided by third party, which is
Mm-hmm.
professional certification body. So
Mm-hmm.
mostly they will rely on at the first stage. This is the first barrier we have to go through when we approach a potential customer.
Okay. So normally, what kind of company would go for ISO? Is it typically like all the big MNC or the big manufacturer do this, or for example, if I am a service industry, for example, if I am a dentist or a web designer, or even though I'm a retail, can I also go for ISO, or do company like this go for ISO?
Yes, actually the standards, whether you are small SME, ranging for 2 staff. I have a client who company only have the boss and the secretary, already only 2 staff
Oh,
working in the
two-person
company.
company.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Because they are subcontractors. So in construction line, in order to get the project, so no choice, they have to implement the system. Yeah, ranging from small company until MNC and corporate. What I refer to is the fundamental standard, which is 9001, stand for
9001.
quality. Yes, correct.
Okay.
Quality management system.
Okay.
Hmm.
What's the difference between 9001 and 9002? That day I heard a friend saying about 9002. As in saying that 9002 is normally acquired by smaller company. Is it
Oh
true?
no, actually the standard which can implement in our organization is ISO 9001 only. So there are 20,000 or more than 20,000 ISO standard in this market. So
Mm-hmm.
some of the standard cannot be certified. For example, like ISO 9002 is quality system, is a
Oh,
model for quality. Yeah, it's a model for quality assurance in production, installation, and servicing, which is just a guideline for quality assurance for
mm-hmm.
production. Ah, so it's not a management system.
Oh,
So
it's a
only
different thing.
correct, it's a
Yeah.
different thing. It's just a guideline only.
Mm. So,
Hmm.
so is it true that there's a lot of work when a company applying ISO? I mean, it's like I heard people saying that when company applying ISO, everybody is very busy working, entertaining the auditor and whatnot. Is it true?
Okay. This is what from my experience, I realized that a lot of company thought that ISO is a different entity.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't know how to integrate the quality management system into their daily work life. For
Mm-hmm.
example, like maybe they already have KPI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they already practice this. They have scoreboard, so they are very detailed action plans according to the SMART framework. But when it comes to ISO, right, they thought that, oh, is it ISO 9001? I have to come out another quality objective monitoring chart or monitoring program. So
Mm-hmm.
they treat it as a separate entity. They don't know
Okay.
how to correct. They don't know how to integrate their existing practice with this ISO document.
Mm.
You will realize that a lot of people, they attend a lot of business training, entrepreneur training.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so normally the trainer asks them, okay, it's good to have system, it's good to have SOP. So they develop their own system very well. But ISO, they have separate set, another different set of document. So because their mindset is, oh, actually ISO is a different thing. So I think this is a wrong mindset lah. They should integrate into their normally task lah, the daily task.
So basically, if I have an existing system, I can just integrate into the ISO. I don't
Yes.
have to come out a new thing. I just use whatever I have and implement to it.
ISO standard is part of the strategic planning of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So normally, what will be the procedure like? So if I start from ground zero, I have nothing, and I
Mm,
invite you into my company starting from ground zero. So
mm,
what will be the procedure like? And normally, how long it takes to from
mm.
ground zero to get certified?
Okay. Normally we'll start from training, awareness training. We'll brief the team from this organization what is ISO 9000 about. Let's say for example 9001 we'll brief them what's the standard about and then what's the requirement, what they need to do. So-called awareness training.
Mm-hmm.
So after that we will sit down together with the team HOD or process owner to draft the procedure. Okay, to
Mm-hmm.
draft the procedure and then revise, maybe review and fine tune. So this is what we practice, because a lot of people, they thought that, hey, is it I hire a consultant, so the consultant will help me to do everything? So normally I don't recommend that, because let's say if you rely on the consultant to do everything, end of the day, your staff don't have the commitment to follow the procedure, because you should do what you write and write what you do.
Okay.
So we draft the procedure. So after that, we'll start to practice whether you can do what you write or not. So after that, we will have another training we call internal auditor training.
Okay.
We train the team the team members to be a qualified internal auditors, so that they can do cross department audit. They can audit their colleagues' department, so that they can improve each other's departments. So everything's ready. After the internal audit, they can ask external auditor to come in for the external audit.
So final step actually is the external audit lah.
Correct. So the time frame, right? So how long to be taken for the whole project? Actually, not my style lah, because different consultant, they might have different practice. So normally I will ask my customer, what's your expectation first? Let's say if you are not urgent for the cert, and then you want to come out a very detailed SOP, some sort like franchising procedure. So it really takes times, maybe about 12 months, more than 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
12 months to a year.
Correct, because it really depends on how satisfied are you with your own company procedure. But most of the client, they say, since I already invest in this project, of course the final destination is to get the cert. Okay, so normally when they started draft the SOP halfway, they're very kanchiong already, they're very urgent. They always ask me, when can I get the cert?
Okay.
So if those customer, their intention is to get certified at the end, so I recommend them to spend at least 3 months, at least 3 months. At least they practice and run the system for 3 months, and can up to 6 months lah.
So
basic compliance.
So it depends on the company organization, is how complicated, how many department they are. So the less it will be faster, right?
Correct. And also depends on their business nature. Examples like those they are doing distribution only, trading house, logistic, compared to manufacturing, semiconductor industry, then they will be faster.
Okay, so you are listening, so depend on your industry, before you apply for ISO, and don't expect the whole process can go within a few weeks. It's not that case, right? Okay, so after my company obtained the ISO cert, can I relax?
You have to maintain. No.
Or do I do anything? As long as I got the cert, I can relax already. The whole team can relax. Or what should I be? What is the right practice for me?
Okay, so like let me ask you. Let's say if you are the boss, right? So you already have SOP, okay? SOP in place in your company. So after you get the cert, do you think you still need to follow the SOP for your daily operation?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So of course the staff have to practice to implement the system, and then it's like account lah. It's like account audit. So every year they also have to do certification audit. So the second and the following years we call surveillance audit. So every year they have to be audited by third party certification body as well. So it depends on the client whether they can maintain the system. They are competent enough to do internal audit before the external auditor come, or they outsource to us to help them to do internal audit.
So normally the audit have to done annually. So every year I have to get audit.
Yes.
So after the external audit, only my search will get renewed.
Yeah, actually one cert can last for 3 years. All right. So the 4th years you will get another new cert, because one cycle is 3 years. But the 2nd and 3rd year you won't get any new cert. Just you have to audit every year. If not, right, if more than 3 months from the audit date that the auditor arranged, then your cert will be suspended. When your cert suspended, you cannot tell the public, you cannot tell your customer that, oh, my company management system is following ISO 9001 standard. You cannot declare yourself that you are ISO certified company.
So there will be like a 3-month grace period before my cert expire. then the auditor have to come in and audit and certify everything good again.
Correct, because why we have to audit because a lot of customer, they thought, I thought I got my cert already, so I no need to do anything. Correct? Not it's something like award. They thought that okay, they pay and then they get the award, so it's belong to them. But ISO is different. So ISO quality management system means that you need to prove to your customer, you need to prove to this market that your service is quality. So of course you have to maintain your quality service and product. Every year they have to make sure your quality is consistent.
So normally when the external auditor come in and do the audit, normally how long would the audit take?
Okay, normally the auditor will ask the organization the total manpower and the scope of certification. So let's say if the scope is very complicated, it's high risk, such as like oil and gas industry, construction, food industry. So normally it will take maybe more days lah. So the man days, how many auditors and also how many days they need to audit is actually depends on their scope and also depends on the manpower.
So auditor can be more than one person.
Yes. For example, let's say if the auditor say, okay, from your company size and your scope, I need around 4 days for the first year to audit. So 4 days means either 2 auditor will come in 2 days or 1 auditor 4 days.
Oh, okay. So you calculate by the manpower, okay, and the manpower days, okay. So from your experience that you've been doing this for quite some time, any interesting story about your auditor or ISO life?
Being auditor is very fun. Why? Because I was auditor before I established my own company to become a consultant. Why? Because everyone afraid of auditors. They thought that okay, every times when the auditors come to their office, their companies to audit, right, they will treat auditors a very good one.
Because you decide my life and death, something like that.
Correct. Yes. Like so-called like they want to treat you a good meal. Then they might have customer that purposely bring you to far from the office area to have a lunch so that you won't spend a lot of times in the office to audit their documents and ask more questions. So of course, being an auditor is quite fun for in that sense lah.
You gain weight because of this.
Correct. Then the reason I become consultant after that, because I saw a lot of company, like you said, they have ISO system, they have ISO certification, but they don't know how to utilize it in their business. They don't know how to utilize the system they already have and improve their business performance. So normally auditor they will not teach you, but this job is consultant, should be done by consultants.
So this is what you do primary right now, correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah, of course, there are many customers like they don't want to invest on consultancy. They thought that they can do. So when I go there, so this is like just now you asked me, like how you asked me about the interesting story. So I remember there's one case. The customer try not to spend money on hiring consultant. So they thought ISO is very easy. They just pay, okay, auditor comes in so they can audit already. So when I go there, totally nothing, no documentation, no manual, no procedures. So this customer bring me to shark fin soup lah.
Makan the bribe you.
Correct. Yes. But correct. So end of that, I also cannot pass him, right? I also cannot let him to pass so easily because it's very wrong for if the customer thought that ISO cert can be bought. So no choice lah. I have to roughly tell him, okay, this is what you have to do. If he don't have enough time, so he might hire a consultant to help him lah.
Okay.
Quite unforgettable experience lah. There are quite a number of customers who behave like this.
Okay. So for example, if my business is already running well, I have many clients, I already well established. Do I still need to invest in an ISO?
Yes. Okay. A lot of people, like especially those more conventional kind of business model, so they thought that they already have existing client. Okay.
I'm a buy already for
yes,
all players.
More China style. Correct, all players. So I have to ask them lah. I have to ask them, they want to maintain this size or actually they are intended to expand their business. If they are intended to expand their business to overseas, to venture into a new market, new industry. They intended to have more market share, then definitely they have to put effort in doing some branding. So branding, we can, of course, we can advertise on social media. Nowadays, very easy. But when you advertise on social media, of course, you can attract people's eye at the get their first sight. But when they deal with you, how you want to make sure that they have confidence on you and continue to collaborate with you further, the long-term relationship. Unless they don't want to expand their business anymore. If not, they want to expand and venture into a new market, more market share. They want more people to know them. Then definitely they must have this 9001 quality management system in place.
So I think you give the audience a different perspective, because ISO is not only getting yourself a standard, but also is a very good branding tools, especially for company who want to expand and penetrating to another market, a particular what you mentioned also to overseas market, because the Amor market might be very particular whether your organization do have to have such standard or not, right?
Yeah, because you tell people that, okay, now my service is very good, okay, or my product very good, but
you say only lah.
Yeah, you say the statement is just from yourself, like the shop delivery, but there's no recognition from third party, right?
So ISO help you to get this kind of recognition and also help you on this aspect of branding. So this is wonderful.
Yes, some more is international recognized.
So for example, if I get ISO from Malaysia, so this is recognized globally already. So I don't have to go ahead and take another country ISO certification from another country. No need at all, right?
Yes, because ISO is international recognized. Unless for those food industry, like maybe you heard like GMP, MERSI, HACCP. So they are just best practice and guidelines. They are not ISO standards. So if it's not ISO standard, then it's not international recognized.
So meaning if I get GMP locally, it may not recognize in other country.
Depends on the your customer. If your customers don't mind, and then the country itself not that particular, then it's okay. But some country, they have very strict regulation on food. For example, like US, maybe UK, they have their own regulation and own standard for you to comply. Then it's not acceptable. But ISO is more acceptable worldwide.
Okay. So finally, how much does this cost for a company to get ISO certified? This will be the $1 million question people want to know.
Yeah, this one is very important question. Okay. Depends. I can say depends on the scope of the certification. Okay. What are the scope they want to certify, so that I know how complicated is their documentation, how long I need to spend on this spend with the organization. Roughly ranging from maybe 10,000 can up to 20,000, 30,000. So also depends on the size and location. Let's say you have branches in Johor Bahru, maybe Penang, or East Malaysia. So I have to spend more time with your colleagues in another states. Then it will cost more.
All right. So maybe you have to travel to branches to audit everybody, right?
Yes, as you know, service line sometimes is very subjective when come to the costing, right or not?
Okay, so of course, so for generally it's like 10K and above lah. Generally lah. So and you say also ESO got so many different type of certification. It depends which certification you are
standard. They are because like I said, they are 20 over 1,000 standards. So example like food, we have ISO 22000, 22,000. Then we have information security management system. We have business continuity management system. We also have anti-bribery management system. So the more like information security management system is quite niche. So this one it will cost more. And then like nowadays, a lot of people want to venture into glove industry, the medical mask. That one costs even more. That one can up to 80,000 one.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you come across those, they can tell you, oh, never mind, 10,000, I can count him already. That means something wrong with the certification. End of the day, you want to save money, but your certification is not recognized. Yes, so no point. So it depends on the standard.
So a company can also take more than one standard because, like you say, I also got so many standard, right?
Yes.
So depend on my industry and what I do, I can start from 9001, then I can expand to different certification also, right?
Yes, correct. Like printing
Okay.
industry, when they get after they get 9001, then they can venture into 14001, which is environmental management system, to prove
Mm-hmm.
that they how they manage their schedule waste, to prove that they are using environmental friendly product, like soy based ink for printing.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for your insight sharing.
Thank you.
And if you are listening this and you like to know more about ISO, I will probably share June Facebook page and also her website in the comment below. Then you can click on the comment link there. Then you can directly liaise with her and get to know more how she can help you get your company certified with ISO. So thank you very much, Jun. Thank you for your time. Wonderful seeing you. So I'll catch up
Thank
with
you,
you
Leik
later.
Hong. Yeah, for
All
inviting
right.
me.
Bye bye
Okay,
for
bye
now.
bye.